Hey, how's it going, guys? This is going to be my out-of-box review for the MegaSize 148 scale giant Char's custom Zaku 2. And so here, let me tell you an interesting story. Actually, I recorded this whole review using this new microphone that I have, and apparently something wasn't set up right, so I only got like the first few seconds of the whole review. Like, I got audio recorded, and then the rest is just nothing. So I'm re-recording all this audio, just dubbing it on to the video, just dubbing it because I've already got the kit all like torn apart and working on removing the seam lines and all the kit and everything, so I can't just re-record the whole review, so I'm just going to do voiceover over it. So this is the review of this giant Zaku, and as I talked about in the unboxing portion, it's pretty much the exact same thing as the regular green Zaku 2, which I've already reviewed. Minor differences are basically just going to be that this one does not come with a bazooka, and instead this one comes with a different backpack and a different armor panel on the back of the leg, which includes an extra vernier, where both versions have the verniers on like the side of the leg, but this one has an extra one on the back center of the leg. So slightly different in terms of their design, but not really all that different. The price is exactly the same as well. This one, the only other difference is that this one does have different water slides as well. So if you wanted those custom Char's markings, you'll have to get this version of it. But it is cool that they both come with water slides, something that Bandai doesn't do all that often, so it's nice to actually have those included. Pretty easy kit to build. A lot of people compare the MegaSize kits to high grades, and in terms of their construction and the way they go together, they're very similar to high grades, and just because of their simplicity, they don't have a whole lot of parts to them. They're pretty basic, but it really doesn't feel like you're building a high grade when you build it, just because of how massive the parts are. You never have parts that big on most high grade kits, so it doesn't really feel like you're building a high grade, but it is essentially comparable to that. I would say compared to high grades that we have out these days, this is actually more comparable to like a really old high grade. So here I'm trying out my new turntable here as well. It's quite small in the center, but it came with this big white piece, which should be big enough at least to hold up the MegaSize, and it's quite strong, it seems, so far, so it actually will be able to turn this MegaSize here for us. But as I was saying, it's like a really old high grade in that the articulation and the seams are not very good. It's got pretty limited articulation. It's not really going to be able to do a whole lot, and it has a lot of seam lines, so it's comparable to like one of the very beginning first kits in the HGUC line. So it's basically just the point of these kits is just to be really big, nicely detailed, and just really big, I guess. So I do have to say I am quite pleased with this new turntable. Seems to be working pretty well. It's not getting too jittery or anything yet, but it is still very new. We'll have to see how well the motor lasts over a while. This one is not battery powered. This one is actually plugged into the wall though, so hopefully this one will be a little bit more consistent than the one that I was using before. Like I said, the kit is really nicely detailed, so if you went in and just did some panel lining on it, threw on the waterslide decals, put on some top coat on that, and you'd have a really nice kit just straight out of the box. It would still have, of course, a lot of seam lines on that, but if you really want to get rid of the seam lines and paint the whole kit, they take a while to paint, from my experience, just because of how big the parts are. It just takes a long time to prime everything, and then a long time to paint everything, and then going through all the steps, it just takes a while just because it's just a lot of kit there. It's not the most complicated, like I said, so you don't have a whole lot of parts to work with, but just the size of the parts just make them, it takes quite a while to actually paint these up, but it's worth it. They're really huge, and when you get the whole thing done, all put together and painted and everything, they're really nice and really impressive kits. So I definitely recommend them for whether you want to paint or not. Like I said, just some minor work on it, and you can have a really nice model as well. The price is quite a lot. They're pretty expensive, but you are getting a lot of kit there. You can have, like I said, a lot to do with that. But if you aren't going to be painting it, and you aren't even going to do anything with it, not even panel lining or anything, then you might end up being a little bit disappointed having to pay so much. Here you can see the water slides there. So you can see those nice colors, nice water slide markings there, all in white in this case. Some custom Char's markings and all of that. Here we have the standard Zaku machine gun. It's all pretty nice. This one does have a few seam lines on it as well over the main body, the barrel, and the secondary handle there. The secondary handle moves back and forth. The camera moves up and down. So getting rid of all the seam lines on the gun as well takes a while. You do have a clear part there for the camera. For the machine gun, I haven't put that in yet. I'll put that in after painting. And then we have your good old Zaku Heat Hawk here as well, just molded in all gray. I guess technically it should be kind of purple and yellow, right? That's sort of like the original colors, I guess, but I actually like it just in all gray here. Here again, you do have a seam line going through the whole thing except for the cabling at the top. You also notice there's a hole on both sides, the left and the right, so you can hold this in either the left or the right hand very securely with that just being plugged into the hand. You don't have to worry about that flopping around like a lot of other Zaku kits. Don't really hold the heat hawk too well. This one you don't have to worry about that at all. And then for hand options, we just have two holding hands aside from the two closed fists, which I have on the kit at the moment. These two holding hands are for the left and the right. You can hold the weapons with those hands there. Now, unfortunately, with both these weapons, there's nowhere on the kit to plug these onto the mobile suit when they're not in use. Now, the Zaku machine gun is typically not attached onto the Zaku anywhere when not in use, but it would have been cool if they would have included like a connection part to be able to plug the heat hawk onto the side skirt. That would have been nice. It would have been really simple, just one little extra plastic piece for that, just making a hole in the side skirt, and then just one extra piece. I think they really could have done that, but here is a look at the Zaku's new backpack, the Char's version's backpack. It's cool. I like that it's different. The red color isn't really for me. I think the red color just kind of clashes with the rest of the color scheme. I know that's kind of how it's typically portrayed, as being a different color red. But I like the design of it though. It definitely has it's a little bit more high mobility kind of looking design with it, with the extra vents and verniers on it. So I do like the design of this backpack, but it will definitely probably end up not being a different color like that. And then down here on the legs here, you can see the extra vernier I was talking about in the back. So the regular Zaku will just have 4 verniers on the front and back, left and right side. This one also has one in the center of the back of the leg as well. So there you can see that one there. I wish that those would have been separate parts. Would have made them easier to paint. They're a little bit difficult to paint with them just being molded in details there, but that's how it goes. Alright, so one more thing here before I forget, we are able to turn the mono eye as well. It's a little bit tricky, mine's a little bit stuck here, but if you just take off the top of the head, you're able to turn that clear part on the top and turn the mono eye. Now, like I said in the unboxing, it's not set up to be able to use a Bandai LED unit. It really would have been nice because there's plenty of space in there if they would have made it engineered in a way that you could just pop a Bandai like official LED unit in there and light up the mono eye, but unfortunately you'll have to do any LED wiring by yourself. But there's a lot of hollow space in there throughout the kit, so if you want to go in and put in all sorts of LEDs, you have plenty of space to do so. Now at the waist, the articulation is going to be pretty limited. You're basically just able to rotate it a little bit side to side, the head as well, just a little bit side to side, up and down, not really all that far. For me personally, I like to pull the head up a little bit off the ball joint so you can set the nose down a little bit at more of an extreme angle. It gives it that kind of more tough, kind of mean look to it you can't really get with it just in its normal range of movement. So just pull that up off the polycap a little bit and you can get your Zaku looking much more mean. As for the shoulders, you can see the joint does move in and out there, so you are able to bring the arms a little bit forward. For moving the shoulder up, though, you're not really going to be able to move it too far up because the shoulder shield is getting in the way. Now, there is a little bit of a joint there, kind of between the arm and the shoulder shield. There's a polycap that kind of is supposed to swing, but it doesn't really allow much movement. On the other side, though, you can move that shoulder armor more out of the way to get your arm up a little bit higher to about 90 degrees, but obviously the shoulder armor is going to be looking a little bit silly up off the arm like that. So shoulder articulation vertically, not that much. Rotation here at the top of the arm, about a 90-degree bend there at the elbow, and then the wrist is just on a ball joint there as usual. Here for the skirt armor, you can move those up and down in the front. The side skirts also move up and down a little bit, but not too much. Here on the back skirt doesn't move at all, and you have this little flap there in the center. The original green version that comes with the bazooka comes with an extra part for you to be able to set in there to hold the bazooka connected onto the back skirt, but this one does not include that part. You could remove this little panel here in the center and then like make your own part to hold something there. If you wanted to hold the heat hawk on that or something, you'd have to scratch build that, but that part, you are able to remove that armor panel, but there's nothing underneath that to do with that. At the top of the leg here, you can turn the leg on a joint there. You can also swing out the legs nice and wide. Now, I don't think you're ever going to have this up in the air to utilize this really dynamic wide pose of the legs, but they are able to do that. And then here at the knee, you can get a pretty nice 90-degree bend. If we just bend the knee here, you have a couple of ball joints in the hoses on the side of the leg, so those will bend along with the knee a little bit as well. All the rest of the hoses on the torso and the head are all just fixed there. Those don't move at all. Only the ones here in the knee move. And the kit is quite heavy, so to show you the ankle movement here, I'll just take off the leg. The ankles move side to side just a little bit, so you can get a little bit of a wide stance, but not too much. Forward and back, not too much either. And then some nice detail there up underneath the feet, if you're ever going to actually see that. Some nice detail in there for the ankle joint as well. That one is a little bit more visible. The back of the knee joint, all of the joints that are showing are really nicely detailed, so once those are painted up and detailed, you can even go in and add some more detail if you want, but all the joints are all nicely detailed as well, so it's not just the armor. Here you can see the seam line there on the front of the leg. Here on the back of the leg as well, seam line here at the bottom part, and then there's a seam line at the top as well. The center panel, that's just a panel line. Here on the forearm, a seam line going all the way down the front of the forearm, and then on the back of the forearm as well, there's a seam line going right down the middle of that as well. Up on the shoulder, of course, you have a seam line going all the way through that shoulder armor. And then probably the trickiest one on the kit here is right here on the snoot. You have a seam line going right down his nose there. So if you want to be able to paint that gray part on the inside separately, you're going to have to do a little bit of work on that. So here for a comparison is the 1/100 scale Master Grade Goof Custom. I know one that you guys have been asking me to review for a long time, and I promise I will get around to reviewing that at some point. But you can see it's making the goof look like a high grade here for how small it looks compared to the 148 scale mega size. And so that's pretty much going to do it for the review of the MegaSize Char's Custom Zaku 2. It's a really cool kit. Like I said, the big thing for these kits is just that they're very large and they're nicely detailed. I would say the detail on them is one of the things that I like the most. They have not only just like a lot of detail, but the detail design work is quite well done. The style of the details on there I think looks really good. So get one of these and just go to town with it. I had a lot of fun working on the MegaSize Zaku that I worked on before. That was a gift for a friend of mine in Japan. I did a lot more just kind of little detailing and small little modifications and things on it. There's so much kit there. There's just so much possibility for modification and customizing and things that you can do with these. So unlike the perfect grade, which is much more complicated of a kit, this kit is very simple. So that means I think it makes it a little bit easier to work on the parts. So any sort of modification, like LEDs you want to put in there, like I said, whatever, is relatively easy to do because the parts are just big and hollow. And so they're relatively easy to work with. You don't have to worry about the complicated interframe or anything like that. So if you want a kit and you want to practice doing some like customizing and modification, I know these are really big and expensive, so you may be worried about like messing it up beyond repair. But I think these are, I mean, high grades are usually recommended for people who want to get into doing customizing work and things like that, just because they're very cheap. But give the MegaSize a try too if you can spare the extra cash. Then give one of these a try. I think they're really cool. I've only built so far the Unicorn, the RX-78 Gundam, and the Zakus, so I'll have to give one of the aged kits a try at some point. And hopefully they'll make some more in the future. I like the MegaSize line, but what do you guys think? What would you like to see come out in the MegaSize line in the future? Something realistic, I suppose, like an Exia or a 00 Gundam would probably be realistic. I don't think they're going to make something like a Delta Kai or something like that in the MegaSize line. So what do you guys think? What do you think Bandai would like realistically put out? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'm going to be working on painting this up. I won't do any work in progress videos or anything. I'll just show you guys the end result when it's all done. This one is also going to be a gift for someone, so that's kind of related to the color scheme, so that's why I don't want to show you any work in progress videos. Don't want to spoil the surprise. So that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you next time. Hope you're having a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.